Straight ahead on CCX News, an incident that left patrons of a Maple Grove bar shocked. What happened that resulted in assault charges against a Maple Grove man? Plus, an overnight fire in New Hope that evacuated an apartment complex. And later, the place in Plymouth where flowers are everyone's best friend. CCX News starts right now. Hello and thanks for joining us. I'm Alexandra Renslow. A Maple Grove man is charged with second-degree assault after he allegedly hit a man with his vehicle. This incident happened on Sunday around 9 p.m. at the Maple Tavern. According to a criminal complaint, 43-year-old Matthew Regan and his girlfriend were inside the bar when they got into an argument with some other people. That argument eventually carried outside.
Suspect got into a vehicle. Witnesses reported that he turned a vehicle around and accelerated towards the victim and hit the victim with his car. The victim had minimal injuries to himself and he refused medical attention or even being transported to the hospital.
Police say there is video showing Regan hitting the man with his car. The victim landed on the hood, hitting the windshield before falling to the ground. Brooklyn Park Police, meanwhile, are investigating a robbery that occurred over the weekend at a Subway restaurant. It happened on Saturday night at the Subway in the strip mall on 85th Avenue. That's east of Highway 252. Police say the robber implied that he had a gun. He ran away after getting cash. The Plymouth Police K-9 and a Minnesota State Patrol helicopter were called in to assist. As we went to air Tuesday evening, the robber had not been found. Firefighters from several departments helped to battle a fire Monday night at the Granite Creek apartment complex in New Hope. The fire started in a bedroom on the first level. Officials had to evacuate the whole building. Besides fighting the fire, crews also had to deal with single-digit temperatures.
We actually hit the fire from the outside and then made entry into the apartment. So as far as putting the fire out, it was no more difficult than if it had been warm. But keeping the crews warm during the incident, because it was, an extended incident, was a little bit more challenging.
Officials are still trying to determine the cause. No one was hurt. Maple Grove city officials are reacting to the sale of one of the city's largest companies. Upshur Smith, a manufacturer and distributor of generic drugs, was acquired by Japanese-based Sawai Pharmaceutical. The sale was for more than $1 billion. According to Maple Grove Mayor Mark Stephenson, Upshur Smith is expected to remain in the city, but with a new parent company, nothing is certain.
The concerns are always what's the ramifications for the business. Obviously the business has been very healthy here in Maple Grove and they've expanded and they've built a beautiful location, and how will this acquisition change that, if at all? And our hope is that it just means that there'll be continued investment in the company and that it'll continue to be located here.
Stephenson is going to Tokyo next week to meet with Sawai officials. The legislative session starts next week, and local lawmakers are talking about their priorities. DFL Senator Ann Rest of New Hope told Mike Johnson the state should help fund the replacement of the New Hope pool because it's an important regional asset.
New Hope has a proposal to ask the state to participate in what we believe is a regional asset, not used just by families in New Hope, but in the region, for a 50-meter pool rather than a 25-yard pool. Where swim meets can occur, where swimmers can be trained to do things like go to the Olympics. And we've been successful in that in the old pool, but now it's going to be replaced because that's where the City Hall is going to go. So we think that the Senate Bonding Committee looked very favorably on our proposal. They came for a visit. We had testimony from the the coach of the swim team, and we see that as part of a larger bonding bill that we think is necessary to pass this year as well.
What about that larger bill overall? The governor's asking $1.5 billion. There's going to be a lot of discussion about the size.
He's asked for $1.5 billion. It has, which includes no judgment about any of the regional projects, to say nothing of purely local projects, which ours is not. And but as is the case in every year that we have a bonding bill, there's going to be a lot of negotiations. A lot of what the governor proposed is repair and maintenance of our major public buildings, usually at universities. We also are very interested in other kinds of infrastructure projects. I'm working with Senator Anderson in Plymouth about the bridge over 494 and Rockford Roads.
One important decision that will have to be made is how to conform Minnesota tax law with the federal tax bill that passed back in December. A lot of discussion on that one. And do we lose money? Do we gain money? How does that work?
Well, if we have three choices. We can do nothing, and Minnesotans will neither gain nor lose in general any benefit or harm from that tax bill, except it would be extremely difficult for them to calculate and fill out their forms, because they would be doing it with an old law. Secondly, we could just conform fully and do nothing else. That would bring over $800 million into Minnesota's taxes, because there would be a higher base on which the taxes were imposed. Or thirdly, and as an approach that I favor, we would certainly conform, but we would make changes in Minnesota's policies so that Minnesota taxpayers would not be harmed.
Still ahead, what some Rush Creek Elementary students did to get up and get some exercise. That's coming up in School Spotlight. Plus, Champlin Park's boys basketball team shoots for a key conference win. That's coming up later in sports. But first, a Valentine's Day warm-up. Wednesday, we could cozy up to 40 degrees. Respect and responsibility are two of the tenets that students at Rush Creek Elementary try to live by. Reporter Sonia Goins visited the school recently, and she has more in today's School Spotlight.
About 870 children attend Rush Creek Elementary.
Or maybe I left them in the bag.
Look at some of their faces and you'll see energy, enthusiasm, and an eagerness to learn.
I'm proud of the energy that people bring to this place.
Principal Tim Brown says students aim high, and standardized test scores show they're reaching their goals. For math, 81% meet or exceed state standards, compared to 59% statewide. For reading, it's 78%, compared to 60% statewide. The school offers an intervention program for students who might need some help with reading.
We call it book club, so the kids just go to a book club. But it's very strategic, either 1 or 2 shots a day based on fluency or comprehension.
Oh, it's just this box I found.
A school-wide enrichment program called Makerspace allows students to challenge their creativity and technology skills. Nico and Joshua are working on a rocket ship made out of a box and other materials.
We don't really have a plan, we just started making it.
It's a work in progress, something the boys seem to really enjoy.
I just like making art projects. I'm at home. I also have a rocket ship I'm working on.
Besides brain power, students also get to work on their other muscles. In December, the second grade class started the Rockies Recess Run Club.
Since January 8th, doing laps right at the start of the school day in some cases, and then it's optional at recess.
We help pick out books for the library.
The young people also have input to what goes on at the school.
And it's really fun, like working with other kids.
Wyatt and Ava are part of the library advisory group.
Things called slat slips, so we put these in, so kids could fill these out and put them in books. And then when someone wants to check that book out, if they see this, they'll be like, oh, that's a good book, it's recommended.
And thanks to parent volunteers, students get to participate in a variety of extracurricular activities.
This will be our 3rd year.
Gina Walstead started a photography club where students use their iPads to capture the world.
We teach them composition, and for me, it's getting the kids to see the world from a different perspective. instead of just seeing things straight on, they can look at things from a worm's eye view or a bird's eye view.
Meanwhile, Principal Brown says the school is just a good place to be. He says even retired teachers come back to substitute because they miss the learning environment.
Everyone here in this building, licensed and non-licensed, loves being here.
For School Spotlight, Sonia Goins, CCX News.
Tomorrow is Ash Wednesday, the start of the Lenten season in the Christian faith. For Minnesota entrepreneur Mike Lindell, it is a time to reflect and spread hope. Lindell is the founder of MyPillow, a multi-million-dollar company, but getting there wasn't easy. First, he had to overcome drug addiction.
I knew I had a bigger calling, and I prayed to God that day on January 16, 2009 that I'd wake up and never have the desires again for any of these addictions, and I woke up and I'm going, wow, it's gone.
Lindell helped fund a film based on a stage play starring Stephen Baldwin called Heaven, How I Got Here, A Night with the Thief on the Cross. We caught up with Baldwin during a screening at Living Word Church recently in Brooklyn Park.
But the message of it, the story of the thief on the cross, and how, of all the Bible stories, he may have singularly been the least deserving of salvation.
Baldwin says the thief's story compares to himself before he went through his own personal redemption. Up next, what it's like this time of year to work in the flower business. But first, Maple Grove's girls hockey team preps for its biggest game of the season. John Jacobson is in next with sports.
I'm John Jacobson with sports. Despite graduation of many of their top players from a year ago, Champlin Park's boys basketball team is scoring some big wins this winter. Rebels looking to open up a 2-game lead on Blaine for the North Division lead in the Northwest Suburban Conference. But the Bengals shoot well early. Ray Mitchell from the corner drains a 3. The senior scores a team-high 24 points. And it's Mitchell again connecting on a 3 ball as the Bengals go up by 10 points on the Rebels. Juwan Grant lobs the ball in for Carlston McKenzie for the lay-in as Champlin Park chips away at that Blaine lead. Josiah Strong hits a 3 for the Rebels. This one ties the game at 25. Strong finishes with a 23-point night. Bennett Otto gets the transition bucket here for the Rebels, taking it all the way for 2. Otto nets 25 on the night. Champlin Park leads by 5 at halftime. Second half, and off a McKenzie rebound. It's Grant with a great pass to Strong, and he scores on the layup. The Bengals stay close throughout, though. Pony Strand with a 3-pointer here for Blaine, but Champlin Park hangs on to win. Strong drives the lane, then dumps it to McKenzie for the dunk. Champlin Park wins 75-72. The Rebels are now 15-5 on the season. The Maple Grove girls hockey team split its 2 regular season games against Blaine. The Crimson gets a 3rd crack at the Bengals on Tuesday in the Section 5AA semifinals. Here's Jason Malillo with more.
Peaking at the right time is an overused cliche in sports, but Maple Grove head coach Amber Heglin does feel her team is playing its best hockey of the season right now.
A testament to these girls and their work ethic and their willingness to be uncomfortable and come every day and be challenged and listen and be coached and just be selfless in that nobody cares who gets the credit and who's getting the goals and the assists, and they just want to be as great as they can be, and like I said, very coachable.
That attitude amongst the girls has helped the young squad grow and find its groove over the course of the season.
The younger kids have adapted so well right from the get-go. They've contributed huge things to the team, and the older kids have really helped them step up in the same way.
Maple Grove is also hoping to continue getting contributions up and down the roster, depth being so important in the postseason.
Oh yeah, it's been huge. Like in the last game, we had our 3rd line who scored the most goals for our team, and it was crazy. And everyone's just stepped up and taken a specific role on the team, which is super important because you can't have just one top line scoring all your goals or whatever. You need the entire team, and that's what makes really great teams, which is special to see here.
We've had contributions from all 3 of our lines, and in fact I would say of the teams in our section, we are the deepest team this year, which will be a benefit to us as well.
Jason Malillo, CCX Sports.
We'll have highlights of the Maple Grove Blaine game Wednesday, starting at 4 here on CCX News. Armstrong-Cooper's boys hockey team has struggled down the stretch. The Wings played a game that could affect playoff seeding as they took on fellow Section 6 AA squad Holy Angels. The Wings on home ice at New Hope. And Holy Angels strikes early. Noah Griswold leads the rush, flips it to Fred Machaki for the backhander, and it's a 1-0 lead. Armstrong-Cooper answers on a strange goal. Jonah Jangala's shot bounces off goalie Luke Miller high up in the air and then bounces off of Miller's back and in. Holy Angels leads 2-1 after one. Second period, and a pair of nice goals. First Griswold, great hands. He tucks it away to make it 3-1 Stars. Jack Gergen tips it to Drew Ide, who splits the defense and beats Miller with a great shot here to make it 3-2. It's 4-2 Stars after a penalty-filled second period. Early in the third, Machaki threads one through traffic for a goal. Holy Angels wins at 6-2, Armstrong-Cooper's 5th straight loss. And that's all for sports. We're back with more in a moment.
Local flower shops are busy gearing up for Valentine's Day. Delane Cleveland caught up with a Plymouth wholesaler that is filling orders and delivering smiles.
Our busiest days have been the last 3 or 4.
Local flower shops are in scramble mode to fill orders for people looking to please that special someone.
Flowers are emotions. They always bring a smile to a face.
But before the flowers make it to the store shelves, employees here at the sprawling campus of Lenbush Roses in Plymouth have to grow, harvest, pack, and deliver them.
We deliver in the middle of the night to all of our florists so that they receive their product ready to go in the morning so they can get a fresh start at their day so that they can distribute the massive quantities of orders for Valentine's Day.
And it may come as no surprise that this is their busiest time of the year.
We'll work around the clock 24 hours a day for about a 10-day period. We do about 18% of our total yearly business for this one single holiday.
Roses are the most popular flower. In fact, Zebarth says they'll distribute more than 1.2 million stems of roses to retail flower shops in the 5-state area.
What we're doing here is we're building pre-made bouquets.
To help them achieve that tall order, more than 200 employees are hard at work.
We have to flex up almost 20 to 30 different employees higher than during our regular times. So this is to help the florists out a little bit so they can move it in and move it out real quick like.
Moving flowers in and out of the stores will be important considering that the forecast calls for highs in the 40s on Valentine's Day.
That is so important for us, so important for the florists. It gets people out, the sun's shining, the warmth of not having to freeze flowers on your way home, the ease of getting around without the snow and parking lots being a mess. So the weather is on our side for sure.
In Plymouth, Delane Cleveland, CCX News.
And while Valentine's is the busiest holiday of the year, the second busiest is Mother's Day. That's all for us. Thanks so much for joining us, and we'll see you back here on Wednesday starting at 4 o'clock.